What's going on, guys? It's your boy Hatter, FFL commissioner, and I got my dude. I had to bring him on. Probably seen him on ESPN fantasy apps, Mr. Mike Clay. What's going on, bro?
Too much. It's that time of the year, right? Early August, so season's ramping up. A couple days from the preseason here, so I'm ready to go, man. It's about that time.
Definitely. I mean, I see the whole, the all the papers behind you, man. That's some secret papers, man, right there about fantasy.
I,
You
I don't even know. Yeah, I got.
so that's a very you're in that room right now. You're in your cave, man, and you're writing all those analysis down and stuff like that.
Yep.
Man, this year it's gonna be a crazy year, man. I mean, as far as it comes to everything, honestly. Um, Burrow getting hurt, Cooper Cup getting hurt yesterday. It's gonna be tough. When it comes to running back, the situations that's going on right now, and you're in the first round and you're picking maybe fifth or sixth or what have you. What are some of the running backs you're trying to aim for? You would say.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, don't be afraid to take a wide receiver this year more than ever, or Travis Kelsey if you're into that as well. So it's just the nature of the position is changing. We keep getting closer and closer to fewer feature backs, more backfield committees, and that makes wide receivers more palatable in the first round. So you can definitely do that. If you're looking at running backs, you're looking at if you're in the middle of the round, Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey probably going to be off the board in the first three or four picks, but look, I love Bijan Robinson. He's one of my favorite players to pick this year if I'm taking a running back. Those top guys like Henry, Eckler, McCaffrey, they're all 27 or older. That starts to become that drop-off age where you don't necessarily expect top three or top five production. So Bijan's obviously 21, a rookie. He's going to be a feature back. These guys that get drafted in the top 10 of the NFL draft tend to be feature backs right away. So I feel good about him. And Saquon Barkley's under contract, so he's a fine play as well there in the first round.
Definitely. And when that boy coming in, Robinson, obviously, no experience in NFL yet. Do you think he comes in and packs a punch immediately, or will it take, a couple of games, you would say?
Yeah, look, every running back picked in the top 12 over the past decade has finished as a top 12 fantasy running back as a rookie, right? So, I mean,
Right.
these guys, there's a reason they're picked that early. Running back is no longer a premium position in this league. You can find they're essentially a dime a dozen. That's why, like guys like Dalvin Cook are having a hard time finding jobs. Leonard Fournette, Zeke Elliott, Kareem Hunt goes on, because pretty much every team is happy with their running back situation. So,
Right.
yeah, it's a tricky one for sure. But the point I'm trying to make here is that if a team does say, look, even Atlanta, right? They're strong. They have Tyler Algier, they have Cordell Patterson still there. They were one of the most
Right.
productive running attacks in the league last season. They feel like, okay, Bijan though is special. He could catch the football, he can run the ball. He's still worth taking an early round pick. And when teams do that, they use those guys as feature backs, and we've seen that time and time again with guys like Barkley and Fournette and Trent Richardson and McCaffrey
Right.
and Zeke. So Todd Gurley goes on and on. So I expect Robinson, yeah, to be a feature back right away.
Right. And obviously, with all those some of these running backs, Bijan coming in, I feel like he could potentially become a big name for himself in the NFL. But it's just those two guys, behind them that they're dogs, right? So it just kind of makes it seem it's kind of flimsy, for most people. But definitely, man. I mean, if you're thinking that he could be come in and do everything immediately, it means a lot. Now, for this year, are you aiming to get wide receivers more than running backs because of the whole scenario that's going on? You would think so?
Yeah, I mean, there's more right now in like competitive, best ball leagues, that kind of thing. More receivers are being picked than running backs in the first round, and there's a variety of reasons for that, including injuries and
Right.
Josh Jacobs holdout, Jonathan Taylor's hold in right now. Whatever's going on there, obviously, has been a mess. And again, running backs are getting a little older. 28. There are, you look back at the past decade and look for top 10 scoring fantasy running backs, or even top 20 who are 28 or older. That's a very short list. And we're talking about, Aaron Jones, we're talking about Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, all these guys, James Conner, Leonard Fournette, these guys are all 28 and plus, and some guys are close as well, including McCaffrey at age 27. So when you kind of combine all those things together and then look at the health at receiver with Jefferson and Chase and Tyreek
Right.
Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Stephon Diggs. You could throw Devontae Adams in there. Garrett Wilson, would not be surprised if he leads all wide receivers in fantasy points this year. He certainly has that ceiling. There's a lot of
Right.
enticing players at that position. So, yeah, no doubt about it. It's wide open. But if I'm picking first overall this year, I'm not taking a running back. Usually I would. I'm taking Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. Okay, there you go, man. Mike said it. JJ's on off the board. And obviously, there's some of these rookie QBs coming out, a lot of them this year. Who do you think is going to have the best numbers in fantasy as a rookie QB?
Rookie quarterback, I think Anthony Richardson has the best shot to be fantasy relevant just because of what he does with his legs, right? He has that
Right.
Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, sort of
Right.
Lamar Jackson sort of ceiling in terms of what he does with his legs. And that's huge in modern fantasy football scoring. So I would lean that direction. I think Bryce Young is the better prospect, and it's to be seen just what he's going to bring to the table with his legs. But as long as he can get into that 250-yard range, rush for a couple of touchdowns,
Right.
he'll be fine long term. So I do prefer him long term. I think Young's the better prospect, and he can make that case for Stroud as well.
Right.
The concern there, again, especially short term, is what will they do with their legs? Probably not a lot, and probably not as much as someone like Richardson.
Right. Okay. And obviously, like the wide receivers this year, there's a ton that could make a lot of noise. But what are some of the sleepers that you have on your list there?
Wide receiver, I think, man, you're right. I mean, the top four are getting a lot of hype in drafts, so they're not really discounted like last year's first round receivers were.
Right.
Um, this year, I would say, especially now with Tim Patrick done for the year, Marvin Mims, I liked him as a prospect. He's actually sixth in my rookie wide receiver rankings. It looked like he might have been buried at first, but man, Denver, that was the first pick by Sean Payton since joining that team. It
Right.
was a wide receiver, and we thought they were good at wide receiver. So they obviously like him a lot. That's a guy I would keep an eye on, especially if Payton gets Russell Wilson back headed the right direction. Rasheed Rice, I have ahead of him as well. Kansas City, wide open depth chart there at the wide receiver position. I like him. And I think Jaden Reed is actually kind of underrated in Green Bay. A lot of people are just
Right.
handing that number two job to Romeo Dobbs. And
Right.
Christian Watson had a good month or two, but we don't know for sure if he's the
What's going to
the
happen?
real deal for a full season. So I think Jaden Reed is an interesting one as well. Second round pedigree, open depth chart, lots to like there.
For sure. And when you're drafting, man, I gotta always ask my dudes, what round are you looking at to draft a QB?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. There's a couple tiers you could look at. If one of the big three fall a little bit, Mahomes, Hurts, and Josh Allen, if they fall a little bit, fine. But they're going in the second round. There's too many good players at other positions in the first two rounds to be doing that. But I think once you get down to, I mean, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow in the fourth are palatable. I think I would wait a little longer. Like I think the best value is actually Deshaun Watson going in the seventh round. I have him ranked kind of with Justin Fields and Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence, and yet they're all going 2, 3 rounds earlier. So I know Watson didn't have the best month of play last year, but that's a small sample. The last time we saw him for a full season, he literally led the NFL in passing yards while still putting up huge numbers with his legs. That offense should be better. So they're going to throw more, better receivers. There's really a lot to like there. So I think he's probably the best value on the board at quarterback right now.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Deshaun Watson. Obviously, haven't didn't do much when he came back last year, but obviously with the full training camp and the full experience in getting the whole playbooks in there, it could definitely be different this year. But man, obviously, the tough position that we always have headaches in, and every year we have to plug and play the tight end position. We got to talk about that. This year, what are some of the dogs that you're looking at that you would say would solidify your team?
Yeah, I think again, very similar to how I just laid out quarterback, right? Like if Travis Kelsey falls a few spots and you want to pounce on him at the end of the first round, I totally get that. Mark Andrews and TJ Hawkinson are next up, but they're round 3 and 4. Again, you still have some really good running backs and receivers available in that range. But fourth on my board is Darren Waller, and he's in 12-team leagues. He's going as late as the 12th round, excuse me, the 7th round. That feels like a steal to me. I think he's has top 5, really top 3 upside, but he's fourth on my board. So I think he's fine. And if not him, I think that next tier is a good place to strike. Kittle, Pitts, and Goddard. I still believe in Kyle Pitts. I think that's a good area to go as well.
For sure. And when it comes to defenses, man, who do you think might be the top defense this year?
Yeah, I mean, the Niners are atop my board, but it's kind of wide open. I mean, there's a lot of randomness with defense as well. Some of it has to do with the schedule. You know, the Bills, the Steelers are interesting, but my favorite breakout defense is a team that I don't believe even finished top 20 last year, which is the Dolphins. You know, the Dolphins front seven is stacked. Their secondary is very good. It would have looked even better if Jalen Ramsey was healthy. It looks like he's going to be out for probably 3-4 months. Might miss the whole regular season, which is a hit, but
Right.
they still have good talent there. Good 1-2 punch a corner. Good, good depth and talent at safety, and of course the front seven is stacked. You know, they had some voids there at linebacker. They bring in David Long. Bradley Chubb has not played a full season yet in Miami. They traded for him last year, so
Right.
that is a stacked defense. I expect them to make a leap. It is a tough division, which makes it tricky. But I'll be honest with you, I think there's gonna be a lot of low-scoring games in the AFC East this year. A lot of people think,
Right.
Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers. You got, of course, New England. You got Tua and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. It's going to be, 40-38. But honestly, they have 4 of the best defenses in the NFL. So I'm
Right.
excited to see that division play out.
Right, for sure. And when it comes to some of these low tier running backs, well, mid range, would you rather pull the trigger on Joe Mixon, or would you rather get Keenan Walker?
Who's that? Ken Walker?
You Keenan Walker or Joe Mixon?
Oh, definitely Joe Mixon right now. And Mixon, adjusted his deal. He's going to be there. He's going to be the feature back for a Bengals team that does not have very good depth. That number 2 job's wide open. It could be Travion Williams. It could be rookie Chase Brown. It's wide open. Mixon should be the feature back. Ken Walker is going to have to deal with Zach Charbonnet. I mean, the Seahawks took a round 2 running back for the second year in a row. That concerns me, especially for Walker, who, look, when he came into the league, we knew he had some concerns with the passing game. We thought he might always be limited in fantasy because of that. And now you bring in, and that played out in his first year, wasn't used,
Right.
targeted much, struggled in that department. Now they bring in a better pass catching prospect in Zach Charbonnet, and they'll use DJ Dallas in that role as well. So definitely some concerns there with Walker. I think he's a good 10 spots behind Mixon right now.
For sure. And now, what do you think the best duo would be for a wide receiver and quarterback? If you're going to be drafting, or if it comes to your plate, who would those two players be?
Oh, like a stack?
A stack.
Yeah, I think if we're talking the best stack in fantasy football, it'd be something like Burrow and Chase, right? If you get Chase in the first round, come back with
Right.
Burrow in the fourth, that'd be great. If you are going to take like a later quarterback, you could do like a Tua Tyreek Hill stack. That would be good as well.
Now, what do you think about Aaron and Mr. Wilson?
Yeah, yeah. I mentioned before I love Garrett Wilson, so that's another one. I worry about Rodgers' ceiling in fantasy because of his lack of rushing as he gets older. But yeah, I
Right.
mean, if you wait a long time at quarterback and double-digit rounds and take Rodgers, that'd be a good target if you took Garrett
I mean,
Wilson early. So
Sauce did put the chain on Aaron, man. I think he at least went 5 years back.
hmm
So I
yeah,
mean,
maybe.
who knows what happens this year, man. Mike, I appreciate you coming up and sharing your thoughts. We're definitely gonna bring you back on the show later on the season, see how everything is going. But hey, man, good luck writing all those hefty, analytics and all that stuff this year.
You got it, buddy. Have a good one.